Welcome back, friends, to another Walk the Walk episode. Today, we're looking at the UK versus South America, what £1,500 a month actually gets you. If you're enjoying these episodes, please like and subscribe for more. So let's talk some numbers, proper numbers, not vague, it's a little cheaper, but actual what you get for your money breakdowns. Because I know some of you are there now sat thinking, yeah, this all sounds real nice, but how much cheaper are we actually talking? And that's fair, you need to see it in black and white to believe it's real. So here's the experiment. Let's take £1,500 a month, a pretty standard budget for a single person trying to get by in the UK, and see what life looks like with that money in Britain versus what it gets you in South America. Specifically, I'm going to focus on Colombia and Ecuador, because that's where I've spent the most time and I know the costs inside out. And let me just say, you're going to love to find out the differences. The UK, £1,500 a month. Let's start with home, the place that's currently squeezing you dry. Rent, £700 to £900. And if you're anywhere near a city, London, Manchester, Birmingham, Bristol, you're looking at £700 minimum for a one-bedroom flat, and that's if you're lucky and don't mind living somewhere a bit grotty. In London, forget it. You're paying £1,200 to £1,500 easy. And that's for a shoebox where you can hear your neighbours sneeze through the walls. Let's be generous and say you found somewhere for £800. It's not great. Probably got dodgy heating, a landlord who takes 3 weeks to fix anything, and a kitchen so small you have to go outside to change your mind. But it's yours, sort of. Bills, £150 to £200. Gas, water, electric, council tax, internet. In winter, your energy bill alone can hit £150 if you actually want to be warm. Council tax is another £100 to £150, depending on where you live. Internet's £30 to £40. You're looking at £150 minimum if you're careful, closer to £200 if you're not freezing in the dark. Food expenses, £200 to £300. If you shop at the cheap supermarkets, meal prep, never eat out, and live off pasta and tinned tomatoes, you might scrape by on £200. Realistically, £250 to £300, and that's boring food, no treats, no spontaneity, just survival eating, like a student. A weekly shop that used to cost £40 now costs £60 to £70. A pint at a pub is £6 to £7. A mediocre meal out is £15 to £20 minimum. A coffee? £3.50 if you're lucky. Transport? £80 to £150. And if you're in London, a monthly Oyster card is about £150 for zones 1 to 3. Outside London, bus passes are £60 to £80. And if you've got a car, you've got insurance, petrol, parking, maintenance, you're looking at way more. Let's say £100 for public transport. Your phone, around £20 to £40 just for a basic contract. Those miscellaneous items, £50 to £100. Toiletries, clothes when something wears out, the occasional pint, haircut, the random stuff that all adds up. So we're looking at a total of around £1,400 to £1,700 monthly. So there you have it. You're just about surviving in the UK. No savings, no holidays, no emergencies allowed. You're living paycheck to paycheck in a flat you don't love, eating food that's just fuel and wondering why you're always skint. And the quality of life, you're tired, you're stressed. You see your mates once a month if you're lucky because everyone's too broke and exhausted. The weather's grey, your commute's miserable, you're just existing. Now let's take that same £1,500 and see what happens when you move it to South America. Let's look at Colombia. I'm basing this on Medellín because a lot of foreigners stay there, but similar numbers apply to Bogota, Cali, or other major cities. For $300 to $350, you can get a really nice 1 or 2 bedroom flat in a decent neighbourhood. I'm talking modern building, proper security, maybe a gym and pool in the building, balcony with a view, not some grotty bedsit, an actual nice place you'd be happy to bring someone back to. And if you want to live like a king, $500-600 plus gets you a penthouse in a posh area. But let's say you go mid-range at $350. Bills $40 to $60. Electric, water, internet, gas, The lot may be £50 on average, and because the weather's decent all year round, you're not hemorrhaging money on heating. Internet's fast and cheap, £20 to £30 for fibre optic speeds. Food, £150 to £250. Now here's where it gets fun. If you shop at local supermarkets and cook at home, you can eat like royalty for £150 a month. Fresh fruit, veg, meat, fish, all dirt cheap. A week's worth of groceries might cost you £20 to £30. Eating out. A proper restaurant meal costs £5 to £8. Street food, let's say around £2 to £3. A coffee at a nice cafe is £1.50. And if you go to a local bar, a beer usually costs £1 to £2. You can afford to eat out multiple times a week without even thinking about it. Transport, £30 to £50. Medellin's got a brilliant metro system. A monthly pass is about £20. Taxis and Ubers are super cheap. A 20-minute ride across the city is around £3 to £4, so you don't really need a car. And if you did, petrol's cheaper too. Phone, £10 to £15. Local SIMs with loads of data. Gym activities, £20 to £40. If you want a gym membership, it's about £20 to £30 a month for a decent one. Yoga classes, dance classes, football leagues, all affordable. Those miscellaneous items, £50 to around £100. Haircuts are generally about £5. Clothes are cheap. Going out for drinks with mates won't bankrupt you. So that brings us to a total of around £550 to about £900. So let's round up and say you spend £800 a month to live comfortably. That leaves you £700 left over from your £1,500 budget. £700. That's not getting by money. That's savings. That's travel. That's I can take a weekend trip to the coast money. That's I'm actually building a financial cushion for the first time in years money. Moving south down to Ecuador, £1,500 a month. Let me throw Ecuador into the mix too, because in some ways it's even cheaper. Rent, $200 to $350. Quito, Cuenca, even coastal towns like Montanita, you can get a lovely flat for $250 to $300. We're talking furnished in a nice area, maybe a bit old-fashioned but solid and very comfortable. Bills, £30 to £50, which is very similar to Colombia. Electricity's cheap, water's cheap, and internet's decent. Food, $120 to around $200 a month. Ecuador might edge out Colombia for affordability on groceries. Supermarkets are cheap. You can live on £30 to £40 a week easily, eating fresh, varied, healthy food. Meals out are £4 to £6. Street food usually about £1 to £2. Transport, $20 to $40. Buses are super cheap. A local bus ride is 25 to 50p. Intercity buses for a few hours travel might be £5 to £10. Taxis are affordable also. Miscellaneous items, $50 to $100, which is about the same as Colombia. Cheap haircuts, affordable gyms, going out money that doesn't vanish instantly, which brings us to a total of about $470 to about $750. Even cheaper than Colombia in many cases. Let's say $650 all in for a comfortable life. That's $850 left over from your $1,500. What that extra money actually means. So, you've got an extra $600 to $850 a month compared to the UK. What does that actually do for your life? Savings, you can actually save for the first time in years. Emergency fund, done. Rainy day money, sorted. That feeling of constantly living on the edge, gone. Travel, South America's on your doorstep. Fancy a weekend in Cartagena on the Caribbean coast? £100 including flights and a hostel. Want to hike Machu Picchu? It's a cheap bus ride away. Experiences, you can afford to actually do things. Paragliding, scuba diving in Ecuador, salsa classes, £20 a month. You're not just surviving, you're actually living again. Mental health, this is really the big one for me. You're not stressed about money constantly. You can buy a round of drinks without checking your bank balance first. You can replace your worn-out trainers without it being a financial decision. That constant low-level anxiety about money, it eases, and that does wonders for your mental health. But what about quality of life beyond money? Because it's not just about the pounds and pence, is it? In the UK on 1,500, you're in a small flat in a grey city, probably commuting, probably exhausted, probably not seeing much daylight between October and March. Your social life is limited by cost. Your mental health is taking a kicking. You're treading water. In South America on 1,500, you're in a nice flat in a city with sun most days. You've got a balcony where you can sit outside in the evening. You can walk to a park and it's not full of broken swings or litter. You can afford to go out for dinner with new friends you've made. You can take a weekend trip to the mountains or the coast without it wrecking your budget. You've got time because you're not spending 3 hours a day commuting. You've got energy because you're not constantly stressed about money. You've got more options now. And yeah, you'll be earning less if you're working remotely or freelancing, but you don't need to earn as much. If you're pulling in around 1,500 to 2,000 a month from remote work, you're living well. In the UK, that's poverty wages. In South America, that's a genuinely great life. And here's the reality check. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. You'll miss some things from the UK, certain foods, certain conveniences, the NHS when it actually works, and some stuff costs more abroad, imported goods, electronics, international flights home. But day-to-day living, the stuff that makes up 90% of your life, it's night and day. In the UK, you're working to survive. In South America, you're surviving so you can actually live. And when you see it laid out like this, it's hard to argue with the numbers. 1,500 in the UK buys you stress and scraping by. 1,500 in South America buys you comfort, freedom, and a massive amount of sunshine. So that's what your money will actually get you if you're even considering Colombia or Ecuador. I hope this walk gave you some insights into both of those countries if you're perhaps considering taking the plunge. Until the next walk, be safe out there.